What's going on, my good people? Welcome back to Play to Win with More Than the Coach Mike Holmes here, where I focus on scholarship over emotionalism when dealing with each aspect of life. And today, what I want to do is talk about what I title is Bible observation. I know a lot of people call it Bible study, but from my perspective and the Play to Win way is we do Bible observation. And today, I'm going to observe the story of Adam and Eve. And this kicks off my series titled Ribs to Divinity. Uh, when dealing with the women, we want to move women consciously from thinking and acting like a rib to operating in their divine nature. So that's the basis of the Ribs to Divinity uh, series. And so we're going to be talking about the Adam and Eve story out of the Bible, and that is covered in Genesis chapter 2 and chapter 3. And so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Just a real quick talk. And just like I said, we're going to observe the story. We're going to look at it from a different perspective from what we've been told. Because like I say, even as a kid, you hear this story already out the gate. You hear that it's Eve's fault, that it's the woman's fault, that she was deceived and she caused Adam to eat the fruit and then caused the fall of humanity. And as a kid, you never really get to read the story for yourself or look at it or form your own opinion because you're already pigeonholed to believe the story how it has been taught for so long. So, but today we're going to look at it and we're going to read the story how it is written in the Bible and we're going to just observe it, okay? Like I just said, we all know how the story is told. You know, Eve was deceived, the woman, uh, caused Adam to sin, which caused the fall of man. You know, this is how we've been taught, like I was saying. And in my opinion, this way that the Bible is being taught is very detrimental to all women because it actually strips them of their importance and their divinity. So let's go ahead and get into the story how the downfall supposedly happened, how woman supposedly disobeyed God, you know what I'm saying, in the garden. So beginning, like I said, it begins in chapter 2 of Genesis and chapter 3. So, but I've got certain scriptures that I'm going to, focus in on. And it begins with Genesis chapter 2, verse 9. And it reads, "And the Lord God made all kinds of trees grow out of the ground, trees that were pleasing to the eye and good for food. In the middle of the garden were the one tree of life, and number two, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil." Moving on down to Genesis 2, 16 and 17. "And the Lord God commanded the man, You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat of it, you will surely die." So we read here that there are two trees in the middle of the garden, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And God commanded the man not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So moving on down to Genesis 2 and 18, it reads, "The Lord God said, It is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." Moving on to Genesis 2 and 21. And the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh in its place. Genesis 2 and 22. "Then the rib which the Lord God had taken from man, he made into a woman, and he brought her to the man." Now we're going to move on to chapter 3, verse 2 in Genesis. Now, this is when the serpent comes in. It says, "The woman said to the serpent, We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, You must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it or you will die." And you got to remember, there are two trees. So moving on to Genesis 3 and 4. You will not surely die," the serpent said to the woman, "for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." So moving on to 3 and 6. "When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it." But now we're going to go back. So now we're going to go back to Genesis 2 and 17 so we can get the story. So in Genesis 2 and 17, God told the man not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, correct? In Genesis 3 and 6, it says, "The woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom. She took some and she ate it. So if we go by how the story is written and how we just read it, the question I pose to you ladies is that how wasn't this woman responsible for disobeying God when she didn't eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? See, there were two trees in the middle of the garden in the story. There was also the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and God didn't tell man or woman not to eat from that tree. And it also states, the story states that the woman saw that it was desirable for gain and wisdom, which makes sense because once you get to Proverbs 4, chapter 4, 5 through 7, the Bible states that get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget my words or swerve from them. Do not forsake wisdom, and she will protect you. Love her, and she will watch over you. Wisdom is supreme, therefore get wisdom. And though it costs you all you have, get understanding. So to me, like I said, I just wanted to bring this up because after reading the story, to me, it shows me that the woman was only doing her part according to the Bible, helping man. So ladies, I ask you, think about it. If you see something that will benefit your man, your son, or a man, or some men in your family, or something you cool with, and it will make them better, wouldn't you suggest it to them? And also, while I'm on it, let's go back to the Genesis 3 and 6, where they say the woman saw the fruit of the tree was good for food. Like, okay, if it's good for food, right? What's wrong with want something good for food for the nourishment of your body? So what's wrong with that? And then also, she saw that it was pleasing to the eye. Who doesn't like things that are pleasing to the eye? Who doesn't like extravagant things? Who doesn't like beautiful things? So how is she wrong in that? You know what I'm saying? How has it been taught? It's like it's something wrong with her with these things or these desires that she had. And there's nothing, we eat food, we got to nourish our body. But we like beautiful things. We like things that are pleasing to the eye. So there's nothing wrong in that either. So like I was saying, just from that little point, so like I was saying, when the story is read how it's written, we see that there's no way woman caused the fall of man because she didn't disobey God and eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But we could, however, draw from our own conclusion, as others have seemed to appear to do, since there were two trees in the middle of the garden, that she must have eaten from the tree of life, because when she did, and when they did, they didn't physically die. And wouldn't this make more sense? This perspective would tie into a woman being named Eve, the mother of all living, found in Genesis 3 and 20, where Adam named his wife Eve because she will become the mother of all living. You know what I'm saying? Like this video, share this video, comment below the video, and let me know what you think.